They were simply asking them, hey, we could offer you a job opportunity, spend the summer or let's say half a year with us, come to Linz and develop with us this new prototype. And that was the founding moment at the same time of our Future Lab. That is now one, let's say, it is a very important initiative playing a role global-wide. And it's so to speak a prototype of a new culture, a new type of collaborating, where artists would not necessarily create a next art form, but would join in processes like scientific context, in the context of industry, economically driven, with commercial interest, with the alternative thinking, making a difference there. And this is still today one of the opportunities for media artists to kind of show up with these two faces. On the one side, being commercially successful, making a difference to all this, to the marketing movements, but reinvest at the same time this money earned in their own innovation. Japan, for instance, Rhizomatics, I would name them. I would not say, yeah, I would name them. They are a very good sample where they kind of refresh their souls and their energy, their batteries, their creative batteries, always with their own creative commercial success, which is, it used to be a paradigm. It used to be a sin, so to speak, for artists, but for media artists, I mean, yeah, they still don't have a toe on this stock market of the art market.
May I just interrupt?
Yeah, sure.
Right there, because the nature of technology and the nature of it is also very open to that commercialization, and we are talking about the artist who's using that into the advantage of making innovation, but also commercializing something, right? So how to have that balance between, okay, this is where does the art end, or does it end, or how do we have the balance between that commercial product or the commercialized innovative step? So how do you see that balance for artists?
Between selling the soul, yeah, selling your own soul? I think it's a very sensitive one.
Yeah.
But the sample that I just named, the Rhizomatics, I don't know if you know Taito Manabe. I mean, they never wanted to be something else like artists. So with their talent, so to speak, they could offer an alternative interpretation of what innovation could mean to industries, and for sure it requires also the other side, the industries. But it's a very sensitive pathway. I would say some are very solid in that, some not. But specifically, and that is the good thing with media arts, that has not this 1,000-year-old expertise looking back, so to speak. With media artists, and specifically on this nexus to science, I would sometimes say when we are going forward, we are not asking these questions because we are driven from something. And I would even more say that art, not in general, but specifically in media arts, is, and also with the tools and in the speed that we are in, that we were creating the reality that we would fit then in. It was the reality that made us fit, and that is the point. That it is also one of the benefits that we had is that everywhere where growth, economical growth is there, you could really say there is also very subversive oppositional thinking art scene growing, specifically in the media arts. It started like with some European spots, Canada, US, Japan, and today it is everywhere. Every country that wants to be most innovative comes with a very interesting subversive and critical thinking art scene in the art and tech area. But we have a say in there, because in the entire time where we are trying to kind of be a stage for video artists, one thing didn't happen because of the lack of risk-taking protagonists like you were doing here. That media art still today has nothing to do with the old values of the art stock market, let's say it like that. So we always say, because we don't have a relation to this market, we're talking to others. And I find it very interesting that you are going the gallery way. And as Electronica, all the elements that we have here are more or less symbolizing other ways where media artists could earn and save their existences, let's say it like that. Our museum, as with this educational approach, media artists are good engineers, are good humanists, critical citizens, and they are good mediators, so they are very good in communication, and so they are good educators. They are also moms and daddies, so they have responsibilities, and they have a role to say, they have something to say. So our museum is abusing, so to speak, media art as a member and as a catalyst, preaching that this kind of revolution is changing everything. We are now so powerful that we can go beyond the geopolitical fights, and that we create, so to speak, a global citizenship where with this technology we could, like, with or without political pressure, stay in communication and develop further what we want to develop. We all know it came different. In times of Corona, where digital transformation was totally misinterpreted, where nations, I remember Germany, was buying, the politicians appeared and in the TV and said, we invested like so and so much, many millions of euros, and we bought 1 million laptops. And I mean, we all know what moment it is when you pack it out and when you switch your laptop on and when you feel the cold. When you get it that without your creativity, without your purpose, this piece of technology stays cold. It doesn't warm your room, not at all. So it was a misinterpretation. Digital transformation is not about buying hardware, it is about educating us and to use the technology for the sake of our interests and targets. And where we are now, in times of environmental crisis and in times of digital autonomous machines, intelligent machines, AI around us, is that we desperately need a definition of what digital humanity means. Because again, humanity is not like written in stone. We discussed this yesterday. Humanity is only a definition that comes from the context of the culture that is thinking about that. Humanity is nothing good and nothing evil. It is a result of our the decisions society makes, and that's why I love to show this, because the definition of culture per se has actually nothing to do with art, not at all from my point of view. It is, so to speak, the sheer decision of a society, how society would love to live together, how to trade and how we deal with each other, what tools are we using and what forms of consummation we are using. That out of this, art can be a result is wonderful, but not given. The chicken-egg question, from my point of view, is not given in that point of time. It's a wonderful coincidence that art came over us because it could, from my point of view, and don't wipe me off here, could easily disappear. We saw that in the Corona times. It was really a thin ice. The role of art and culture would have blown away in isolation. Some facts and figures and superlatives, and if you want to ask me a question in between, and I told you I'm talking like a machine. It's like I have 450 slides, and later on, and we are now So in 2023, talking about growth, it's incredible. It started with 15 artists in '79, and in 2023, in the Post City in Linz, in this small city, 250,000 people are living there. We had almost 100,000 visitors. That means almost, you know, the half of the city was visiting us. We had visitors from 88 countries. It's all just superlative what's going on there. More than 1,000 people making programs. In the year before pandemic, we had 1,600 protagonists making programs. Incredible. What sounds so cool is at the end a burden, because you understand that you reach kind of a limitation of growth, even of cultural growth. At the end you're standing there and you're like, you're evaluating yourself via press releases. But what is culture? What I said before. I mean, I started the festival where I knew everybody, every worker, every helper, almost even visitor, even every visitor. And that is creating sustainability, and that is, so to speak, also creating community. And this is what you are doing here. No, this is what you are doing here. This is why all people are coming here. This is also what we experienced with Export last fall with, in Dubai with Amin. There were 22 artists, and we went to the desert, so to speak, after into the Sahara, by the way, which was wonderful, after the festival, and I thought, wow, this is creating sustainability in community. This is creating memory and legend, and this is also what a festival is here for, and what cultural can support and transform. Question?
Yes. So you said this is what we're also doing, but right now we're talking about today. What all the numbers of 2023, and you began and you said it didn't just appear. There was a lot of challenges. It was not like a big bang that the Ars Electronica appeared, and we all know that. And as an art fair having multiple components, also trying to spread in the city, which we know that Istanbul is too large to be spread at that as ours. So yeah, I'm just thinking of all the challenges you faced and all the lessons learned in the process of expanding Ars Electronica to reach to an international level, and how those experiences may be shaped in the organization's approach to have all that
we are sitting here to show institutions. Institutions are here to kind of protect, to foster, to break the lens for the species. Why we are here, and this is media artists. This is the artists that are working on the nexus between the arts, technology, society, and the science. And this is outstanding, and it's also quite a risk that you're going, I have to say. But to answer it also before, I was very impressed about the collection, also about the toughness of the participators of the different galleries. And I was part in moments where risk-going collectors also came and bought media art, and still in a time where the values of media art in terms of market issues and values are actually not really proved. It's still like it is, you would call it, if you would compare it with the stock market, it's a risk it's a risk investment still, but it is important. So, Ars Electronica, to come to the little institution that brought me here. I like to start to demystify, to deconstruct, so to speak, what we have in front of you, because as I mean, it is easy to construct history when you have all the circumstances and ingredients already on the table, and you look back in time, and then it's totally easy, and where you say, okay, it came that, it became that, it became that, it became that. So Ars Electronica, because Ars Electronica wasn't a result of some kind of genius Big Bang where boom, and all of a sudden it was here and everything was like floating with each other and it was an entire love story of success. No, it was a long story of pain, hard work, and of an investment of human energy. For sure, it was driven by genius minds, but not one mind. It was always a collaborative process, and many people who did what they did, so that we have it to do with this big institution that Electronica is. My name is Martin Honzik, so I am an educated artist, not a digital artist. I come actually from the opposition in the little city where Electronica in my age always has been the big guys that took all the money, the big guys who avoided that the independent scene could grow and could do what they want to do. So I was once sitting on the other side of the Danube in the little city where I'm coming from, saying, if I would ever work for these guys, please drill 2 holes in my knees. And now I'm sitting here, beyond 50, and I've been working for this institution since 2001 with a year of a break, where I was afraid that I would values from the very first beginning in the relationship between art, technology and society, and I would even say I extend the term technology to this term of science and technology. What Electronica today is, and I start from that arm, is a festival. I put it later on in the food chain and on the timeline, or even in a circular economical context, it is working. So we have a festival which is, it is the biggest event in the field. It is one of the seldom opportunities for media artists who are everywhere, but still a minority compared to the big cake of contemporary and modern art. A opportunity to live, to take care for their existence, to show each other, and to get an exchange. And again, I mean, what you are doing here is more than meaningful. And I also see others here from Canada. I see Amin here from what he's doing in Dubai. I mean, they are all spots where formats like that are desperately needed, and that's why I will always foster and try to kind of help these kind of initiatives, because growth in the cultural sense is just a logical consequence. You have to keep on going on working, and I looked into your faces yesterday evening, and I saw the tiredness, and the only thing that I thought is, the hell, I'm so happy that I'm a guest here, and I don't have to make the festival now, but because I totally understand, but it needs this passion.
You feel so lucky.
Yeah, let me joke a little bit. We have the pre-Ars Electronica, which I will introduce you later on in its categories, where we put the focus on art only. So Ars Electronica is not influencing, so to speak, the price, and let's say we don't give a topic, a curatorial topic. We don't judge even on our own. The legacy of pre-Ars Electronica is that it's always a huge happening where we invite the international guests who are, instead of us, are giving us their time, their expertise, and who are judging, so to speak, what year by year is from the subjective point of a jury crew, the best of media arts. If you step back there in our role, and if you look over the shoulders of these experts, it's just wonderful, because you see what artists are thinking, what the trends, so to speak, are, why they are reacting, and with what tools and techniques they are trying to express their artistical ideas. In other words, and we are with a little bit of fantasy, you really see the growth, or the development of the entire global, including all the geopolitical conflicts, the environmental problems. I mean, artists are mummies and daddies, artists are creatures and citizens of this world, and they don't bring us on Mars, they just bring us closer to the essence of what we have in front of us and where we are in. We have a little museum that is, compared to the city size that we have, totally fitting. It is a very successful piece of technology, piece of a museum with the orientation on on education and on the region. We have, so to speak, an R&D department that was underlining the idea of computer science and heavily coining and helping that to establish this term as a serious scientific term. We have a youth initiative that is focusing only on growing, so to speak, the national, on bringing the national kids and young creatives, as we call them, closer to become artists, or let's say critical self-thinking, authentic self-thinking and critical citizens. And we have solutions, which is like the unit that is at the end of the food chain that tries to commercialize the expertise of artists together with the artists. And then a little unit in Japan. We have as Electronica Export. This is also the reason why I am here. We, besides this event, also planning another event that most probably takes place by the end of February in a super cool place here in Istanbul, but more to come later. We, in Corona time, created like specific educational formats for not disappearing, so to speak, as the clowns of society in times of Corona, from, so to speak, the screen. So we wanted to offer something. You know, you all remember this this term, digital transformation, and how it came. And we have an archive for sure, where every activity, specifically all the submitted projects from the pre-Ars Electronica are stored. So also this, it's open and public, so I strongly recommend to spend the one or the other minute. It's pretty interesting. Looking at the timeline, it starts to make more sense because it came step by step. So I already described you the history. So it started 79. Linz was at that time a highly polluted industrial city, and life quality really was sad. And the local politicians there, they were so wise. I really have to say that they stick together and they developed a cultural development plan that would last 30 years, with a target that 2009, around that, Linz should become Europe's cultural headquarter, which at the end really happened. I mean, and you were fostered by the municipal things, and we all rely, when we are doing our jobs, to smaller initiatives, to smaller political systems, and we all know, I mean, that like businessmen are thinking in 1 year, and politicians, I mean, you know, I mean, they are not here to think in a decade or even beyond. So this is really remarkable. I have this paper at home. I mean, it's really not a mythos, it is really written down. And the city was really following it, because they saw that investing in culture, in art, in this kind of art, doesn't mean that the industry is excluded. It was at the beginning already the idea to have like the industry, to reposition industry in this topography of a city, to redefine it, to help the industry itself, to innovate itself, to become, to be a part, you know, because it is the resource of its existence for the mummies and daddies working when they want to send the kids to university, whether to study art or so, whatever. On the way, and the festival was kind of already established, and they understood, my God, these international artists coming to Linz, they are literally changing our small city in a colorful stage. So they made the city to a stage which would never happen here in Istanbul, because Istanbul is sheer too big and itself the competition, a part of the competition to a festival. But this is really one of the only points, I have to say, where it makes sense to do a festival in a scale of Ars Electronica in such a small city, because you literally transform the entire city. You just cannot escape, you cannot get lost. Getting lost in Linz means you have 5 minutes of silence, and then you meet somebody who is also lost and asking, hey, where is this other event, and so and so. So a very sympathetic and authentic ground for a big festival. On the other side, in like growing a festival, in gaining more supporters, like the big global players, sponsors, they then say, hey, they clap on your shoulder, yeah, you are so sexy, you are so cool, but why should we spend $1 million for a city of 200,000, 200,000, 50 people? It's, you know, it doesn't happen. And I've been trying this for 20 years, and more clever and more talented guy did the same, and we went through therapies, and we now know it's not necessarily our fault. So the pre-Ars Electronica was found in the classical disciplines.